It was a dark and stormy evening. A young pregnant woman sat in her small apartment, tears running down her face. She was tired of the fights, tired of the threats from the man who was supposed to love her. But tonight was worse. Her baby's father towered over her, his voice filled with rage. The argument grew louder and louder until he struck her hard in the stomach. She gasped, stumbled back, and collapsed to the floor. Blood poured out beneath her, a pool of red spreading across the room. Her eyes rolled back, her body fell still. He froze. Then, without a word, he jumped out the window and vanished into the night. Neighbors rushed in after hearing her screams. The sight froze them in terror. Her lifeless body, her swollen belly, her blood soaking the floor. They screamed for help and rushed her to the hospital.
Hospital ambient sound, beeping machines. Doctors worked frantically, hands moved quickly, voices shouted orders, but her heartbeat grew weaker and weaker, until finally, silence. She was gone. But then, her belly moved. At first, a faint twitch, then stronger, something inside, pushing, twisting. The doctors froze in horror. One whispered, "How is this possible?" With shaking hands, they decided to operate. The scalpel cut through her stomach. The air grew colder. The lights flickered, and then they saw it. The fetus inside was not human. It had the face of a cat, glowing eyes, and a mouth full of sharp, human-like teeth. The creature opened its eyes and stared directly at them. The mother's dead body twitched on the table. The thing inside her growled. Doctors scream, running footsteps. The doctors fled the room. Nurses screamed. The machines beeped wildly. The lights went out. And then, heartbeat sound returns. She woke up, gasping, sweating, alone in her room, on her bed. It was only a dream. A dream born from her real pain. Her baby's father had been threatening her, telling her to get rid of the child. Her fears had taken form. She whispered, "It was only a dream." But then she froze. At the window, two glowing, cat-like eyes stared at her, watching, waiting. Please don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Also, leave a quick comment and share this video. Your support keeps us going. Now back to the story. Shh. Listen carefully, because tonight we return back into the darkness, back into the hospital, back into the nightmare where Jane's story continues. The room was silent, too silent, and in that silence it was there. A cat, still as stone, unblinking, watching her every single move. Its glowing eyes burned holes into her soul. Jane's lips trembled. Her voice cracked like shattered glass as she tried to scream at it. But the sound that came out was broken, a trembling whisper that barely escaped her throat. "Go away." The cat didn't move. It didn't blink. Then her blood froze because the cat's mouth began to twist. Not like any normal mouth, but like something monstrous. Its lips stretched, its teeth sharpened, and suddenly it looked almost human. No worse. It looked like a vampire trying to wear the mask of a cat. And then, from deep inside that twisted mouth, came a voice no human should ever hear. Not a meow, no. Not a hiss, no. But a voice, a trembling, echoing, inhuman voice that whispered her name. Jane. Jane. The room quaked. The wall clock shattered. Picture frames flew from the walls and exploded into pieces across the floor. Her entire body shook violently. This was not a dream. This was real. She whispered to herself, "This is real. This is real." Her heart raced faster, 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 until she thought it would burst inside her chest. With the last shred of strength, she screamed for help, a scream so disparate it tore through her throat. And then, darkness. Her skull cracked against the wooden frame of her bed. Blood poured, and the darkness swallowed her whole. When the neighbors rushed in, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, both doctors, the cats were gone. The room was silent again. Only Jane's body remained, pale, still, lifeless. Blood poured around her. Her neighbors screamed her name. They lifted her body with trembling hands, and without hesitation they carried her into the night, into their car, and sped toward the hospital where they both worked. They didn't know. They couldn't know that the nightmare was only just beginning.
3 days passed. Jane lay in the ICU, her body cold, her chest still, machines breathing for her. Then her chest heaved, once, twice, violently, and suddenly she gasped back to life. The alarms screamed, the machines shrieked, her eyes opened. But something was wrong. She couldn't remember her name. She couldn't remember her home. She couldn't remember the pain. Her memory was shattered. But the darkness, oh, the darkness, it had followed her here. As she lay trembling, the monitors beside her flickered. The green numbers scrambled, then twisted, forming words. Words no machine should ever show. We are still here. The glass on the ICU window rattled. The floor shook, and behind the glass, 2 glowing eyes stared back at her, unblinking, hungry. Jane's heart thundered in her chest. Terrified, she tore the wires from her body, staggered out of bed, and stumbled into the dark hospital corridor. Her bare feet slapped against the cold tile. Her gown trailed behind her. Every step echoed through the silent halls. Until she stopped. At the very end of the corridor, a rusted iron door. Above it, a sign. 2 words. Ward 9. Her breath caught in her throat. No patient was ever taken there. No staff ever spoke of it. But the whispers, oh, the whispers. They called to her, closer, closer, closer. Her hand trembled as she pushed the door open. The hinges screamed. Inside, a pale woman sat in the shadows, cradling something in her arms. At first, it looked like a baby. But when the figure turned, Jane's soul withered. Its face was not human. Its face was feline. Sharp teeth jutted from a cat's mouth where a child's face should be. And it was smiling. Jane screamed, a scream that rattled the very walls. And then, from deep below, the morgue doors slammed open, one by one after the other. Corpses sat upright, their heads twisted toward Jane, and with hollow, empty voices, they whispered together, "You should not be here." The nurses burst in, but they were not saviors. Their lips stretched too wide. Their teeth gleamed too sharp. Their eyes glowed the same cursed blue. And in unison, their voices hissed, "You cannot leave. You belong here. Feel at home. The hallway lights flickered, then died. Darkness swallowed everything. At the far end, a crib began to rock, rocking, rocking. A baby's cry echoed through the hall. Soft at first, then louder, piercing, until suddenly it stopped. Jane froze. Her trembling hands moved to her belly. Her heart stopped. She remembered. She was pregnant. Before all of this, before the nightmare began. But now, her belly was flat. Her baby was gone. She gasped. Her hands shot to her face. Her soul cracked. Then, two glowing eyes opened inside the crib, hungry, waiting, and from the shadows, Mr. and Mrs. Jones stepped forward. But something was wrong, horribly wrong. Mr. Jones had a body, but his head was hers, Mrs. Jones. And Mrs. Jones, her body, carried the head of Mr. Jones. Jane screamed until her voice broke. She ran. She ran as fast as her broken body could carry her, through the endless halls. But the hallway stretched, longer and longer. Every corner she turned, she found herself in the same place again, the same flickering light, the same rusted bed, the same broken chair, over and over, trapped. Her head spun, her breath failed, her legs gave way. She stumbled, fell, collapsed, and when she opened her eyes, she was back in her hospital bed. The doctors at her side. They whispered she had been sick, delirious, burning with fever. It was all just a dream. Or was it? Because as the heart monitor beeped beside her, her blood ran cold. Beep, beep, beep. Then the beeping stopped.
Please, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Also, leave a quick comment and share this video. Your support keeps us going. Now back to the story. Dark, chilling, and suspenseful hospitals are meant to heal, but some corridors were never built for recovery. Behind locked doors, hidden from the public, there are places where the sick are forgotten and the dying are silenced. They called it Ward 9. No signs marked its entrance. No visitor ever left with answers, and those who entered were rarely seen again. Tonight, I will take you inside. I will show you what lies in the shadows of Ward 9. But I must warn you, the story you are about to hear is not fiction. It is not fantasy. It is a slow descent into a nightmare that, and some say, never truly ended. It began on a rainy night, the kind of rain that doesn't just fall, it lingers, clinging to the skin like something alive. My transfer papers had been signed without much explanation. One moment I was a nurse in a bustling city hospital. The next, I was reassigned to an old facility on the outskirts of town, St. Augustine's Asylum and General Care. They told me it was temporary, a routine placement, but the look in the supervisor's eyes told another story. It wasn't a reassignment. It was an exile. The driver who brought me didn't speak a word. He dropped me at the rusted gates and sped away before I could thank him. Ahead of me, the building loomed. Decayed brick, windows black like blind eyes, no cars in the lot, no signs of life. And yet, I could hear the faint echo of hospital machines somewhere inside. The receptionist's desk was empty. The clock on the wall read 2:17 a.m., but the second hand didn't move. It was stuck, forever frozen. I rang the bell. The chime echoed through the halls, swallowed by shadows. That's when I heard it. A voice, a whisper. Ward 9, don't go there. I spun around. The lobby was empty, just rows of abandoned chairs, their vinyl cracked open like peeling skin. The air smelt faintly of iron and antiseptic. That combination only meant one thing: blood. Finally, A woman appeared, the night nurse, her face pale, her eyes hollow, and her voice flat. She didn't greet me, didn't ask for ID. She only said one thing: "You're late. They've been waiting for you." With trembling hands, she gave me a key card. On the back, the words were stamped in fading ink: Ward 9, authorized entry only. I wanted to ask questions, but her lips trembled as though she was holding back tears. She whispered, "I'm sorry." Then she vanished through a side door, leaving me alone. I should have left right then. I should have turned back into the storm and never looked behind me. But curiosity, no, something darker, pulled me forward. The elevator groaned as it descended, each floor passing with a flicker of the dim light above me. Floor 3, Floor 2, Floor 1, then past ground, past basement, deeper and deeper. The air grew colder, my breath turned white, and still the elevator kept sinking. Finally, it stopped. A single hallway stretched out before me. No windows, just peeling paint, flickering bulbs, and numbered doors. At the very end, Ward 9. I stepped forward. The moment I did, the doors behind me slammed shut, locking me inside. That's when I knew Ward 9 was not just a hospital wing. It was a prison, a labyrinth, and I had just become its newest inmate. From the corner of my eye, something moved. A patient, or what was left of one. His hospital gown dragged across the floor, stained and torn. His eyes bulged, his mouth sewn shut with crude black stitches. He pressed his face against the glass of one door, banging softly, begging for release, but no sound escaped. Only the hollow thud of flesh against glass. I backed away. That's when the whisper came again, louder this time. "You shouldn't be here. Run before they find you." But it was too late. I heard the squeak of shoes behind me. I turned. A doctor in a white coat stood there, but his smile was too wide, his teeth too sharp. His eyes reflected the flickering lights like an animal's and adjusted his glasses and said, "Welcome to Ward 9. We've been waiting for you." And then the screaming began. The doctor's grin did not fade. His teeth gleamed under the flickering light like ivory blades, and his hands were too still, gloved fingers twitching only when the bulb above us sputtered. He didn't speak again, but his gaze followed me as if I were already strapped to one of his tables. I stepped backward, my shoes echoing against the linoleum. Every sound felt magnified. My breathing was ragged, shallow, filling the silence with something almost worse than quiet. The air was heavy with the stench of disinfectant, ammonia, and something sickly sweet beneath it all, the unmistakable rot of decay. Behind the glass doors lining the hallway, figures shifted in the dark. Patients, if you could call them that. Their faces were pale, almost gray, their eyes hollowed out. Some sat motionless, staring at the wall, while others rocked back and forth, whispering gibberish in voices too faint to make sense of. One woman pressed her hands flat against the glass. Her fingernails were gone, only bloodied stumps left behind. She mouthed a word, "Help." The doctor turned without warning, his shoes squealing against the tile, and walked toward the far end of the corridor. He didn't ask me to follow. He expected it. Every step he took echoed with authority, and though every instinct screamed at me to run, my body betrayed me. My legs moved of their own accord, carrying me deeper into the dark. The deeper we went, the colder it became. My breath fogged the air, and the walls grew damp with condensation. Pipes overhead dripped with rusty water. Somewhere above, I could hear faint moans traveling through the ventilation system. Long, drawn-out wails that rose and fell as if the building itself were crying out in pain. At last, we reached a set of double doors. They bore no label, just two enormous dents, as though something inside had once slammed against them with inhuman strength. The doctor slid his key card and pushed them open. Ward 9 stretched before me. Imagine a place meant for healing. Now imagine its reflection in a nightmare. Rows of iron beds lined the floor, each occupied by something once human, but twisted, broken. Some were strapped down, their wrists rubbed raw against leather restraints. Others lay still, their chests rising and falling too slowly, as if life clung to them only by force. The ceiling lights buzzed faintly, many flickering, leaving entire rows in shadow. The shadows moved, even when nothing else did. I walked past a man whose head was wrapped entirely in bandages. Only one eye remained uncovered, darting wildly, tracking me as I passed. His breathing hitched with every step I took closer. On the bed beside him lay a child, no older than 10, her skin paper white. Tubes snaked into her arms, yet the monitors by her bedside were blank. No heartbeat, no breathing. Still, her chest rose, shallow and mechanical. I wanted to ask, "What is this place? What's wrong with them?" But the words stuck in my throat. Then I heard it. A laugh. A child's laugh. It echoed through the ward, sharp and sudden, out of place in the silence. I spun around, scanning the beds, the corners, the shadows. Nothing. Just patients staring blankly or twitching under restraints. The laugh came again, this time closer, right by my ear. I felt hot breath brush my cheek. I turned. Nothing but empty air. My heart hammered in my chest. The doctor never looked back. He strode calmly toward a set of steel cabinets, pulling them open one by one. Inside, surgical instruments gleamed. Scalpels, saws, forceps. But they were wrong. Too large, too rusted. Some looked more like tools for butchery than healing. He finally spoke, his voice a gravelly whisper. "Every patient here has a story. Every scream you'll hear tonight is a memory, refusing to die." And as if on cue, the ward erupted. The stitched-mouthed man began thrashing his body, convulsing against his restraints, head banging so hard against the metal bed frame that bone cracked. The bandaged man wailed, a sound so raw and guttural it pierced my skull. The child on the bed opened her eyes, solid black, no whites at all, and mouthed something I will never forget. "Stay." The doctor smiled again. He leaned close to me, so close I could smell the copper tang of blood clinging to his coat. "Now, it begins." Lights overhead began to flicker violently. In that strobe-like chaos, I saw things I shouldn't have. Shadows with too many limbs crawling across the ceiling. Faces pressed against the glass from the inside of walls, their mouths gaping in eternal silent screams. And beneath the beds, hands. Pale skeletal hands, hundreds of them, reaching out, grasping at ankles that weren't there. My ears rang, my vision blurred, the room spun and twisted, as though reality itself was unraveling. I stumbled backward, clutching the wall. The paint peeled beneath my fingers, flaking off to reveal not concrete, but flesh. The walls pulsed, beating in rhythm with a massive heart somewhere deep within the building. I wanted to scream, but before I could, the overhead speaker crackled to life. A voice, distorted, filled the ward. a voice I didn't recognize, yet it felt like it knew me. "Welcome, new staff member. Please report to your first patient in room 9. The experiment is ready to continue." My vision cleared just long enough for me to see the doctor holding out a pair of gloves, bloody gloves, waiting for me to put them on. My hands shook violently. My stomach turned. I whispered, "What is this place?" His answer was a whisper so low it cut straight into my soul. "It's not a hospital. It's a graveyard that forgot to die." And the lights went out. The silence shattered all at once. The patients screeched without sound, mouths splitting wider than bone should allow. The doctor's smile curled like a hook. My body moved before my mind could, spinning, shoving past the nearest bed, tearing away from the grasp of pale, stitched hands. My chest heaved as I sprinted toward the far end of the ward. Somewhere, anywhere, there had to be a way out. The bulb above flickered wildly as I ran. The light stretched into long, unnatural shadows that clawed at the walls. My footsteps pounded on the tile, echoing back at me, except the echoes were faster, closer, like someone was running behind me. I didn't dare look back. A door appeared ahead, a rectangle cut into the wall, glowing faintly. My only chance. My lungs burned as I pushed harder, every muscle screaming. The scraping chains followed, faster, dragging closer, and with them came the voice of the doctor, calm, patient, unavoidable. "No one leaves Ward 9. You don't walk out, you're carried out, piece by piece." My hand slammed against the door. It gave way with a heavy jolt, and I stumbled through, slamming it shut behind me. Darkness swallowed me again, but this time it wasn't empty. It moved. The blackness curled at the edges, pressing closer, forming shapes, arms, faces, mouths whispering things too faint to understand. A hallway stretched ahead, but it wasn't the one I came from. The walls were slick with some glistening film, the floor uneven, sinking slightly under each step like flesh. Every light above was shattered, sparking, dangling wires dripping with black liquid instead of sparks. I forced myself forward. My breath came ragged, heart clawing at my ribs. The whispers grew clearer now, layering over one another, hundreds of voices, all in pain, all calling my name. Not once, not twice, over and over, as though they had been waiting. Suddenly, a figure lurched from the darkness ahead, a patient. Their restraints dragged along the ground, broken and bloodied. Their mouth was sewn shut, but their chest convulsed violently, straining to scream. They staggered toward me, arms jerking upward. I backed away, but more appeared behind him, from the walls, from the ceiling, from the floor, crawling out of seams and cracks, limbs bending the wrong way, faces torn but grinning beneath the stitches. I bolted. The corridor warped around me, stretching, shifting, every step leading me deeper instead of closer to freedom. Doors lined the walls now, each marked Ward 9. No matter which way I turned, the numbers stared back at me. I shoved open one door, then another, then another. Each one led back into the same room, the ward, the same beds, the same patients, the same swaying bulb. Each time the doctor stood a little closer, his glasses glimmering brighter. I screamed. The sound bounced back in strange echoes, distorted, in voices not my own. My legs gave out, but I crawled, nails clawing at the floor. I reached one last door at the end of the hall, a glowing red exit sign above it. My salvation. My fingers wrapped around the handle, pulling with everything left in me. The door opened, but not to outside, not to safety. It opened, back into Ward 9. The doctor was waiting. His glasses glimmered, and for the first time he removed them. His eyes were black sockets, empty but endless. He bent close, whispering words that carved themselves into my skull. "You ran so well. You fought so hard. But in the end, every hall leads back here, because you were never escaping, my dear. You were
Please,
arriving."
Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Also, leave a quick comment and share this video. Your support keeps us going.